What's up, guys? Johnny Tacos here with another Johnny Tacos Rock Talk. And we have the man, the myth, the legend. We have Danger Cruz from Cold 43 here today. And before we get him talking, and we're going to see about the resurrection of his band coming back harder than ever. And it's going to melt some faces, make some people cry, make some nostalgia just fall through because that's what we need today. That's what we need instead of all this carbon copy wannabes. We need the originals. And before we get to that, we're just going to let you know that the Johnny Taco Show is full effect. We got merch coming up. We got awesome shows coming. We're going to do some trivia. We're going to see how much of a rock god you are with some trivia coming up. I'm going to throw out my top 10 greatest bands of all time. It's my opinion, and my opinion counts because this is my show. It's not your show, it's my show. So my opinion counts on my top 10. And you know what? This band is getting close to it, man. So I'm pretty excited about talking to my brothers from Cali. So
Cali.
here we are with Danger Cruz. And just for a little tidbit, I have family in California by last name Cruzes. So you never know. We could be blood.
Brother.
Yep.
We could be cousins at least. You never know.
Hey man, good morning. I know I woke you up from having an awesome time at night, then having to wake up and just interview with this pretty face.
Yeah. Listen, we had an event we went to in Hollywood, which sounds typical, but you don't always go to Hollywood when you're in LA. But we happened to be in Hollywood yesterday, and it was a music event for actually a friend of ours, Shira, which we met uh, on Warped Tour back in 2010. So it's been a while since we've known her. She hasn't. I'm still wearing the shirt, gritty and pink. It's a nonprofit for the empowerment of women in music, which is something that a lot of things with our band have evolved. And one of those being collaboration with different organizations, such as that one, and just making a connection with different people, different fans, getting known, just working together. Because that's kind of you're talking about nostalgia, and that's the one thing that as a band, on the West Coast, which is I think some people have spoken about this. Depends on what circles you run in, but in the West Coast, there wasn't really a community. It was very separate. Like I remember when we went to the East Coast and seen the bands from Boston, New York, Rhode Island, Providence, Connecticut. They kind of had a community, and they would all tour around, like Set Your Goal. Was it a Man Overboard? Like those kind of bands, Set Your Goals. I mean, even though Set Your Goals was from San Francisco, they kind of made a connection. 4 Year Strong. Even when you go back to the early days of the pop punk, the emo, Taking Back Sunday, all those bands that came out from Long Island and stuff like that. There's kind of always been a community where in LA, in our scene, a lot of bands played, but it seemed disconnected. So it seems now that even though it's a digital age, like nostalgically, a lot of the bands are kind of like creating community with other things, and not necessarily other bands, but other projects, just to kind of help each other.
Yeah, because I've seen that a lot because I used to watch a lot of behind the music, and a lot of the LA scene pretty much was a dog eat dog kind of world, with System of the Down, because I know those guys are from there. They pretty much had their own style, their own way, and then you kind of mix it in with Corn, the guys from Corn, um, you know, but there was really not a lot of connection. So you believe that there is more of a connection in the in that coast?
I think so. Yeah. It seems like, I mean, some of the some of the groups that have come up are not necessarily bands, because that's the thing. You got a guy like Sueco, who's, I think he's incredible, like pop punk. Like he brought it back with his own style. A little bit of hip hop. Definitely some screaming, some metal, but like it seems to be like individuals. Like Sueco is him, but it's not a band. You know what I mean? And I think all his guys are hired. So it's almost like these front people. Reverie, she's from Highland Park. She kind of does like some funky stuff, but also does like rock. Yeah, some of these younger artists are coming out as individuals, but they're playing band music. So it's kind of cool. And so a lot of the musicians that play in these bands all play in different ones. I know the guitar player for Sueco also plays for like Sophie Powers, that girl, the Pixie.
Yeah.
And so like so yeah, I think so. And that dude lives in the valley. And I don't know if he's originally from LA, but like I've seen more community with those people. Then you guys, the old school people like Pennywise. Pennywise has been doing a lot of work with young bands. I think on a couple of the announcement for this upcoming Warp Tour, Fletcher's in some of the videos. It's kind of funny with some of these kids. And so yeah, Pennywise is a great example of a band that always is cool. We go to these shows and people hang out backstage or whatever. Pennywise is the only band. Maybe there's a couple, but they're the only band that allow people to go on stage when they do Bro Hymn. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
Yeah. Everyone just mobs the stage and they don't. And then you have other bands, I won't say any names, that like pretty much kick everybody off backstage and are just like it's only my friends could be back here. So, you know what I mean? So, some of the old school bands get that stuff. And again, everyone's cool, but, like having those kind of bands, and I think MXPX is playing and those guys, Mike Carrera, those guys are cool. Everyone's cool. I think everyone gets nostalgic in their own thing when they come back. And, a lot of bands were dead in the water. Look at Yellow Card. They were like done. And then the resurgence of the music scene came back up. And, they're so grateful. And they even have a hit. They did a song with Travis, that's on the radio in rotation here in LA on K Rock, heavy rotation. Some 41, even though they ended, they had their last hit, Landmines, I think it was on heavy. It's still on heavy rotation in the radio stations here. Both of them, 98.7 and K Rock. So yeah, the resurgence of this music is it's incredible, because when our band Cold 43 did Warp Tour in 2011 and 2012, around 2015, 16, we started to see the decline. That's when you started getting a lot of the rappers, Post Malone and Machine Gun and Mod Sun, these guys. But then it's funny, like for instance, T Mills. I don't know if you've heard T Mills. He was
Yeah,
a
I've
rapper.
heard. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't know, but when we were in Long Beach on Warp Tour, he is now Travis, and he plays in a pop punk band.
And it just shows, you were saying, Machine Gun Kelly and Mod Sun. If you really look at it, they kind of progressed into the pop punk kind of stuff, because I actually like a lot of Machine Guns pop punk kind of stuff with Avril Lavigne.
Yeah,
I actually dig that a lot better than his mumble rap, and I'm
yeah,
not really a big hip hop kind of guy. I'm more of a metal, more of a emo. That kind of atmosphere to me is a lot better than going out listening to hip hop. And I'm not dissing any of the people that watch my show that love rap and loves hip hop, because I was young and I used to love that old school hip hop kind of stuff, like NWA, Too
yeah.
Short. Man, I'm showing my age. My age is showing. I gotta zip it up.
Yeah, well, you know what? I tell people occasionally. I mean, most people know this. There was a guy, I forgot his name, Mike, on YouTube. He was really good. He used to talk about the music scene, and he used to break it down very detailed. But yeah, I want to say that Ticket to My Downfall, that album by Machine Gun Kelly, when Pink Guitar and all that, was the beginning of the resurgence of pop punk, because Travis was on it, and Travis is being, the godfather or drummer of this genre for all of us. Every
Mhm.
fucking band, all of them. Whether it's Neck Deep, whether it's us, whether it's yeah, the rappers guys. It's every Travis just plays all the time. There was this funny meme back a few years ago when We Were Young in Las Vegas came out. They were gonna, it was all these bands, and the meme was, you remember Airplane, where the guy's
Yeah.
sweating, is
Uh-huh.
sweating, and it was just like Travis Barker knowing that he has to play for every single band at When We Were Young.
And Travis was in everything. He was kind of like the Nick Cage of pop punk. He was in everything. He was even in. I think he sat in for a couple of bands. He sat in for a couple metal bands too, like heavy metal bands.
Yeah. Well, he
Uh,
did some of the Aussie tributes, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, well, the guy can play. He has a different style. You can definitely hear the difference in his drumming, as opposed to like a heavy-handed drummer. He's just got a finesse to him. Obviously, he can play, and his tone is different. But as far as, I mean, I don't know. I mean, people talk about great drummers, and everyone goes to Bonham, or Chad Smith, or
Or Neil
whatever.
Peart. Neil Peart.
Pert,
Yeah.
Pert, of course, is always. I just, I think when you have someone in your lifetime that's around, it's like you never appreciate it until they're gone,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And Travis, it's like, I mean, when you think about his body of work, the different genres, the way he produces now, I mean, he essentially produces a lot, everybody, you know. He does, he did work with Willow Smith, again with Machine's album, he did that awesome Nirvana thing when during the pandemic with Post Malone. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
It was kind of different. And Posties from my neck of the woods, Arlington, Dallas area. And hearing him like actually doing that Nirvana cover,
yeah,
you would, if you close your eyes, you wouldn't even think that was Posty.
yeah. It's crazy, and that just shows you, again, going back to Machine Gun and him and Posty, that the punk rock's built is in the DNA.
Hmm.
I think just for that minute there, they kind of got bored of what was happening, and they just kind of were like, oh, let's do something else. But then you can never suppress it, because it was going to come out at some point. These guys are everybody. I mean, I think everybody specific to pop punk, because that's the specific. For some, pop punk has never gone away. I guess it showed up when with some people say like the Ramones, sort of because of their melodies and stuff like that. But then when you talk about the incarnation we have now, I guess Green Day, was like Dookie and all that. And then Blink, even though Blink are sort of like the ones we all, because I think Blink was more of a funny, different thing, where Green Day was like, you listen to all their albums and their song, they have massive hits, but their sound is kind of, always remained sort of the same. Maybe 21 Guns had like a different thing, but it's kind of, Green Day, when you hear them. Blink, on their new stuff, you can see them experimenting more,
Yeah,
you know.
but you can actually know when Blink is playing the way,
Mhm.
just,
Where are you?
yeah, yeah. Kind of like the Lost in Puberty kind of feel to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Tom is, everybody's for years. I mean, that's not even a thing anymore. But I remember early on when it's like, oh, that dude's Tom sounds like Tom. But then I felt like, Jordan, Newfound Glory, he has his own voice. Uh, some guys just really stand out in that genre. It wasn't even funny sometimes, because there was like a typical sound of a pop punk guy. But then, everybody evolved, and now, there's so many. And I think with that style of music, that genre of music, like I said, it never went away. And it's just so fun to play. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to play heavy and
Yeah.
it's cool to be serious or whatever. But pop punk is just I don't know. I always tell people there's something when you play that, like it's cool to play fast, but it's something about fun. Like, there's just like a fun aspect to it, like when you're performing, especially in front of a crowd.
And actually, thinking about fun, when you see Bowling for Soup play,
Exactly.
it's fun. And Jared, he's from Wichita Falls, so I get to see him all the time. He actually has a Red Dirt Country album.
Yes, I
It's
know. Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. He was playing at this little honky tonk bar, and I was like, well, you know what? I haven't been to a honky tonk bar in forever. And then I was sitting there and I go, hey, that's Jared playing with Canada Jones or something like that. And he actually is different. It's different from his bowling for soup.
Yeah.
And seeing those guys back in the day and then seeing them now, they still have that energy, even though they've added a couple of pounds
Yeah.
and what's his name losing his foot uh,
Yeah.
to
Drummer.
diabetes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still at it to this day. It just shows how much fun this whole genre is.
Yeah. You can see these guys having fun. We know Jared. We've seen him. We've seen him at Warp. We saw him in a show they played at the Forum here with was it no it was I think they played with Simple Plan. Yeah, that's what it was. And so yeah, we've run into him quite a few times. He's always a nice guy. Hey, you want a beer? Yeah, and he's got that same energy. He's another one that's like he knows exactly like he knows how to write really good songs. His songs are just really good. His melodies are really good. Always, and yeah, you Bowling for Soup, boom, 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 high up, and then they went down, but now they're just like a steady. Everybody levels out, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, some bands, again, you'll have like some 41 where they level up, but then they boom,
Mhm.
a Yellow Card is experiencing that, because we hadn't seen Yellow Card for a long time, and now they're gonna go back out. They opened for Newfound Glory, and now when they come out this summer, they're headlining, and Newfound Glory is opening for them. You know, but it's cool though. Everyone's friends. We're and we'll hang out. But it's cool. A dude from the singer for Hawthorne Heights. His name escapes me right now. During Warp Tour last year, I could hear his gratefulness because he would give a speech of like, thank you guys, because we're back, because again, I don't verify this, I don't know, but I heard that their band, started playing for like very small crowds. Eventually, they kind of went under the radar, but then it came back, and now they're 80,000 people. You know what I mean? It's amazing. Yeah, that stuff doesn't die, and it's kids because a lot of people say like because yes, a lot of the 30, 40, 50 year olds are, remember them from back and they're following them. But when you go look at the crowd and you walk around, it's still Warped Tour. It's still 15-year-old kids,
Yeah,
you know?
because they're going and grabbing CDs from their parents, and they're like, "Hey, I want to hear this and check this out," and then they start going, "Wow, this is cool. This is cool." Because I went to a Iron Maiden concert. Again, showing my age, I went to an Iron Maiden concert, and I looked around and I seen a bunch of 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds jamming out to the music, and people forget that rock music in any genre is universal.
Yeah.
You could be 50 years old and jam to it, or you could be 5 years old. I always kind of ushered my kids into metal. Some of them break off to rap and they get out of the family. No, I'm just messing. But it's just a universal language. So with talking about this, let's talk about your band. When you were in Warp Tour, you said that you used to just hand out CDs, just going out there into the crowds.
Yeah. Well,
And
the rumor back then, this is 2007 and 8, the rumor, it wasn't so easy to Google things back then, was that there was a band that bands used to sell CDs. They in the lines. They used to slang CDs, and nobody was videotaping. There was no Instagram Live. There was no TikTok. There was none of that. So the only way to find out is you showed up. And so the first thing we did is, we would when we would perform a show. Let's say we were in Phoenix, we'd go to 10 a.m. We'd pull into the city in the morning, go to the mall, the local mall, walk around, dodging security because soliciting apparently is looked down upon. We would have earphones, and by then we had a CD. Some of us, I think a couple of us had a CD man, but some of us did have an iPod. So we were able to. Once we got into iPods, it was a lot easier. But yeah, we would just basically just walk around and just slang CDs, and we had a pitch and everything. Be like, hey, we're trying to get across the country. So we would sell CDs there, and then we'd go to the venue, load in, sound check, perform, and then try to sell more stuff. But that selling CDs thing actually helped us because when we got to Warp Tour, yeah, it was a thing. They're called baby bands. Um, you don't see that anymore. Even at these Warp Tours, it didn't see it at all. Nobody does that anymore. I think it's because the technology is not around anymore. Like I was saying earlier, most cars don't even have a radio. Everything's a tablet.
Yeah.
So but we would sell CDs, slang, slang, slang. Then we would see Kevin Lyman riding around on his bike, and I'll never forget it. It was I was selling CDs because eventually you get so good and you start meeting the other bands, Escape the Fate. We were hanging out with them. We were able to get a wristband from one guy. I think he's the tour manager for the Millionaires.
Uh-huh.
Now we saw him. I think he's the guy. He used to give us wristbands. He used to slip them through the fence so that we can go into the festival and walk around. So but he was just a friend. He was just some kid. He was some dude that was just like, except he was in and we were out. But we'd sell CDs, and then we made all the way to Seattle, and there's a band from Tacoma called No Bragging Rights, who I didn't know at the time. No idea who they were. He was loading some stuff in his trailer, and I just helped him. I helped him push some stuff, and he goes, "Hey, you want a beer?" I was like, "Yeah." So then he just said, "So what do you guys do?" I'm like, "Oh, we sell CDs." He goes, "Are you on the tour?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "You know what you should do? You should volunteer." That's how we got on. And I was like, "Oh," because even Hey Monday was a baby band. They used to sell CDs in the line, and they somehow got on. And so we did selling CDs helped us meet the other bands, and then that's how we got in, and eventually we got on Warp Tour off of our own. We didn't have label support for it. Nothing. We didn't have no real push. We just worked hard, and so yeah, when we got on there, eventually everybody knew us as like the hardworking band, Cold 43.
And just like that, actually blood, sweat, and tears, just going out there and just promoting yourself while helping out.
Right.
That back in the day, that's what you had to do. That was before all the social media guys where they do the TikTok
Yeah.
reels and stuff like that with the AI coming through. Do you feel that the technology today helps you?
Yeah. So what it does is it does make things easier where before we had to be out on the streets. Now everybody is, going through their phones. So it's easier in the sense of you don't have to go sell CDs. As the band name carries us well enough so that we have people who'll follow us. And obviously we're, making new fans and new content, but just shooting content is easier than actually physically selling CDs, going up to one person, where now, you put content out and then you start attaching music to it, and that's how people know you. And again, our band, we know enough people now that if when we got things going again, because basically, after Warp Tour in 2012, we took a break, and that sort of slowed us down. So from 2012 to essentially 2024, that's a long break. We did go on some tours in 2018 and 19, and we sold merchandise during that, but even by then CDs were kind of already out. But now, when we used to go out, we used to sell CDs, and that's what we did to. That's how we survived. So now, what do you sell? I mean, you can go around selling T-shirts, but it's not really your music, and that's a lot harder to sell. I mean, it's possible, but the technology definitely makes things a lot easier. The AI stuff, yeah, it's to us, one of the things that the reason that these Warp Tours were successful, and the reason that they added two more stops this year, which is Montreal and Mexico City, is because they realized, they being the analytic people, whoever the fuck that is for concerts, that people, even though everything's digital, that the love for going to live shows has gone way up. Again, it dipped for a second. There was like an oversaturation of festivals for a minute. Fucking Fire Festival, I don't know, whatever. Even that dude, you hear that dude got out of jail or whatever, and
Yeah.
he's doing another one, and people are buying tickets. I mean, people love live music, whatever, whoever sells it. Maybe it's that's something else, but yeah, people just, I think that kids realize that guitars are cool, and drums are cool, and they don't want to see a rope. I mean, they don't mind flipping through their phones and looking at whatever, but and maybe, yeah, and I know they had a couple of AI bands that were like on, but again, no one's gonna ever see those people live, so it'll be interesting, and you'll hear it, but you literally will forget about it within a week or so, because it's not actual people that are interesting. I know they even had an AI actress that popped up in Hollywood. I haven't heard anything from her. Again, it was interesting clickbait in the beginning, because everyone's like, "Oh no, here we go. Now they have an AI actress." Guess what? Fucking Brad Pitt's still making movies. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Jim
And
Carrey, if he's alive, is still making movies.
well, you talk about people love going to see live music. It's not only just to hear the live music, but it's to connect with other fellow fans that love the genre, and then make friends, because I made so many friends going through Mayhem Festival, or um what was the other festival that came uh through Dallas. Oh man, it eludes my mind right now, but Lollapalooza, when
Oh,
Lollapalooza was big,
yeah,
um you know uh it was so cool just to hang out and just jam and have kind of like a fellowship of fans and musicians, and meeting, have an opportunity to meet some of the opening bands that
right.
came out and jam, and it to me, when I went to go see Cold, and I seen them at Trees in Deep Ellum, and Scooter was just walking right by me, going to his tour bus, just walking right by, and it's just amazing to see somebody up close and personal that actually can write music, that can play live, and
Right.
and it just brings you that much closer, makes you that much closer to the music.
Yeah, I mean, that is the cool thing about the musicians when you go see them. I mean, you could run into them. There was a band that I used to love. I still love them. I just haven't heard from them in a long time. Is Bucko Nine? They were a ska band.
Yeah, Bucko Nine. Yeah,
Those I
it's on
remember.
my playlist.
Oh my god, I have a bunch of their songs. That Barfly album was amazing. They we the Key Club was an old venue here now in Hollywood that is gone now. I don't know what it is now, but I remember. I don't even know how. No internet again. Now I'm dating myself. And they were playing at the Key Club. We just wandered out there. I don't think we saw the show, but they were outside smoking a cigarette. And I had the guy, the singer, he signed, I used to be a smoker back then. He signed my cigarette box, $1.09, Bucko nine,
Yeah.
and then his name, he put $1 at .09, and they were cool. They were so cool, in fact, that when they played at another venue that is now gone in Long Beach at the Vault, when they played there, that we went and saw them, and afterwards they hung out with us. They remembered us, and that's the thing. I think band people recognize. I remember Jake from the Casualties used to always say like, "I like band guys because they know how to hang," you know. And so like you everybody kind of like gravitates, and even like if your band is like small or unknown or whatever, if you're a band person and you hang out with like Dave Grohl or whatever, just happens to be at the bar or whatever, or sitting somewhere and you just kind of start talking about music, like you can connect. Musicians connect with other musicians, Or the other thing, which is funny, I connected with like a lot of bands, not because of music, but because of baseball. Musicians love baseball, well, sports.
Yeah, and what is it? The guys from Devil Wear Prada, they're big PS5
There you go.
fans, and they
Yeah.
love playing PS5. And I'll see them pop up. The guys from Raw, the guitarist. Oh crap, I forgot his name. He's gonna get mad at me. But he comes on my Xbox every now and then, and I'll play Halo with him. And I'll trash talk to him. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you can't, you play Halo like you play the guitar. Crap. He gets mad. He gets mad, but he's gotten into that new age kind of stuff where he does the little water and the like touching it, making the sounds resonate and
Oh, right, right,
all
yeah.
that. But yeah, man, just chilling out with band members. People forget that people in a band are just people. They're
Yeah.
they're just people. They play games. They do D&D. I know a couple of Bowling for Soup guys. They used to play D&D back in the day. I don't think Jared played. Soup Can. Was it Soup Can Rob? What's the drummer's name? Soup Can something on his Instagram. But he used to play D&D
Okay.
back in the day. So is you connect when you find something to connect with, and then everything else just gets easier. So
Yeah. Yeah. You don't think about what people are. I mean, you'll remember because everybody has those moments where like I'm really good friends with Ian from Newfound Glory, the bass
uh-huh.
player.
Yeah.
And he calls me all the time. He calls me, he'll send me videos of him on the toilet. And so like I remember in the 2004 or 5, we had a thing out here in LA at the called the microbrew
Hmm.
for K Rock, the radio station. And I remember seeing them there for the first time and be like, whoa. And so it's just funny now, right?
Yeah.
You come back around and you're like, look, he's just like, what are you doing? And so like, yeah, with a lot of stuff like that, I remember having the DVD for Yellow Card. It just back. Remember you used to buy the DVDs for the bands, and you would just watch them. They would perform sometimes. There'd be a section where it'd be like the live show, but then all of it would be just on the bus or on the road or messing around. Some 41 had a good one. No killer, no. What is it? All killer, no
No killer,
filler.
all killer, no filler. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just running around, getting in trouble with the cops. And so then when you hang out with those dudes, it's like that moment of like, huh, okay, yeah, all right. Talking to Ryan from Yellow Card face to face, and then I was realizing like, shit, I used to watch this dude's DVD for like hours. But that's
Yeah.
that's what that's what it is. It's inspiration for the music for a lot of us. You get inspired, and then that inspiration carries you as far as you battle for it, or how bad you want it, and then once you get on the field, then you meet your heroes because they're also on the field.
And we're getting close to the end of the show, man. I could talk to you for hours,
Oh
brother.
yeah, I'm a big chatterbox.
Hey, we could be family. So
So yeah, I
I'll
heard
be
about
I'll be
that.
over there for that family get together, that family reunion.
Do you really make tacos?
Yeah, I make tacos. I love my carnitas and I
Oh,
love
okay.
my barbacoa. Man, man, if you have a good barbacoa, man, I'm there. I am
All right.
there. And I'm not
Sounds
talking
good.
about that brisket imitation. I'm talking about that cheek.
Yeah.
about that cow cheek. Nobody, my wife, when she heard that it was cow cheek, she wouldn't eat it anymore.
You
She's like,
can't tell them what it is. Like
yeah,
we had our roadies here once, and menudo,
yeah.
and they ate it. Or Wolfman was one of our roadies, and he was eating. He was like, okay, okay. And I made the mistake of telling him, "Well, it's stomach lining," and he was just like, "Ugh." I go, you liked it just fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you can't think about what it is.
Yeah. And when I tell people what threefa is, and
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
"Oh man, no, no, no! What did you give me?" And
yeah,
I go, "You didn't see me squeeze out all the stuff before I cooked it."
yeah.
Oh man.
Holy shit!
But yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
man, I'm down for food, man. Me, the Latin cuisines, the food from Mexico, like the authentic stuff, dude. That's what I loved. I grew up on that. You know, all my
Absolutely.
friends, man, their families always call me gordito, and and they I would just eat anything, man. I would just eat anything they had. Sunday is always menudo day. Uh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was a hangover cure until I was like
Yeah. Until
15.
you were hungover. Yeah.
So, but yeah, man,
Amazing.
you performing anywhere?
So yeah, so Cold 43 is we're getting to the studio next week. We've shot a lot of videos, and at the end of the day, we my brother's very meticulous about what he wants, us to sound like, or what he hears in his head. So yeah, we're gonna go into the studio because you have to go in there to record. AI isn't gonna do any of these things. You know, um, so we're gonna go record some songs that we're gonna start releasing. We're still making a push to be on this year's Warp Tour, whatever dates that may be. We'll see. We are looking to perform probably within April, March. Yeah, like around April. We're still trying to figure that out. But right now, like I said, the band is we're gonna start releasing more music. So anybody follows us on Instagram, we do have a TikTok. We just haven't uploaded everything on there as we have the Instagram. We're more active on that. Gonna keep shooting some stuff. Gonna put we're starting rehearsals. My brother caught pneumonia. That's another thing. So that's not good for singing.
Yeah.
He's all right, but so that we had to kind of guess he's got to get better. But he yeah. So the band yeah, we're just basically gonna be in the studio. Gonna start putting music out and releasing it, and you'll start to see way more activity from us. In the coming month or so.
Hey, and I can't wait, man. You gotta send me some on email, man.
Absolutely.
I could jam out and then put it on my playlist and then
Okay.
send it out to the world, like a whisper or something like that.
Absolutely.
But hey, Danger Man, it was an honor to meet you, dude. Man, you're part of the taco family now, so just let me know, man. When you come to town, dude, I want to chill with you, man. Have a
Yeah,
couple
absolutely.
beers.
Yeah, no, we love Deep Ellum, and Dallas is cool, Fort Worth, all that area. We've always had a good time there. You boys can drink out there. Yeah, so
All right, man. Well, thanks again for being on the show. All right, guys, just hold tight for the top 10. The top 10 is coming up of the Johnny Taco's favorite all time. So hold on tight. Here we go. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please like and subscribe to get the latest and the greatest from the Johnny Taco Show.